The episode begins with Lucy entering the bank carrying a renewed sense of confidence that borders on boldness. Clearly influenced by her recent attempts at self-improvement and the small successes she has managed to achieve. And this confidence manifests in the way she approaches her work, speaking with more certainty, moving with purpose, and presenting herself as someone who now understands how to balance initiative with restraint. A transformation that both intrigues and worries those around her as Viv watches with cautious optimism while Mr. Mooney remains openly doubtful, having learned that Lucy's confidence often signals the beginning of another unpredictable chain of events rather than a stable new phase. And this tension sets the stage for the central situation of the episode, which arises when the bank becomes involved in handling a special task or opportunity that requires coordination, attention to detail, and a high level of responsibility, creating an environment where mistakes could have noticeable consequences, and Lucy, eager to prove that she has truly changed, immediately volunteers to take on a meaningful role in the process, presenting herself as someone who can now be trusted to follow instructions while also contributing positively, and after some hesitation, Mr. Mooney allows her to participate but makes it clear that she must adhere strictly to the established plan, emphasizing that any deviation could jeopardize the entire effort, and Lucy agrees wholeheartedly, determined to demonstrate that she has learned from her past experiences, and at first, her performance seems to validate this belief, as she carefully follows directions, completes her tasks with precision, and resists the urge to involve herself in matters beyond her assigned responsibilities, creating a sense that she may finally be achieving the balance she has been striving for. But as the situation develops, small irregularities begin to emerge, subtle details that catch Lucy's attention and spark her curiosity, such as minor inconsistencies in communication, unexpected changes in timing, or behaviors that seem slightly out of place. And despite her efforts to remain focused, Lucy finds herself drawn into analyzing these details, gradually constructing a narrative that suggests there may be an underlying issue that others have overlooked. And this internal process begins to shift her perspective, causing her to see her role not just as a participant, but as a potential problem solver. Someone who can anticipate and prevent complications before they arise, and this belief leads her to take small, seemingly harmless actions, such as double-checking information, adjusting minor details, and asking indirect questions, all under the assumption that she is enhancing the process rather than disrupting it. But these actions begin to accumulate, subtly altering the structure of the plan and creating confusion among those involved. As communication becomes less clear and coordination starts to falter, and Viv, noticing the change in Lucy's behavior, attempts to intervene by reminding her of the importance of sticking to the plan, but Lucy, now convinced that her actions are justified, reassures her that everything is under control and that she is simply being proactive. And this confidence continues to grow until Lucy reaches a point where she feels compelled to take more direct action, making adjustments that have a noticeable impact on the overall process. And this escalation leads to a critical moment when one of her changes interferes with a key element of the task, causing a disruption that draws immediate attention from Mr. Mooney, who quickly realizes that Lucy has once again deviated from her instructions, and the confrontation that follows is both tense and revealing, as Lucy attempts to explain her reasoning while Mr. Mooney emphasizes the importance of discipline and adherence to the plan, highlighting the recurring pattern that continues to define her behavior. And as the situation reaches its peak, the consequences of Lucy's actions become increasingly difficult to manage, leading to a sequence of fast-paced interactions in which she tries to correct the problems she has created while maintaining the appearance that everything is under control, and this creates a blend of physical and situational comedy as Lucy moves rapidly between different tasks, improvising solutions, redirecting attention, and attempting to minimize the impact of her earlier decisions, all while Mr. Mooney works to restore order and prevent further complications, and Viv provides support where she can. Though even she struggles to keep up with the unfolding chaos, and despite the mounting difficulties, the resolution begins to take shape when Lucy experiences a moment of clarity, recognizing that her attempts to anticipate and control every outcome have once again led her into trouble, and this realization prompts her to step back and allow others to take the lead, contributing only where she is explicitly needed rather than inserting herself into every aspect of the situation. And this shift, though it comes late, helps stabilize the remaining issues as the original structure is restored and the task is completed without lasting damage. And in the aftermath, Mr. Mooney delivers another lecture that balances frustration with reluctant acknowledgement, emphasizing that while Lucy's instincts are not inherently wrong, her inability to distinguish between when to act and when to observe continues to be her greatest challenge. And Lucy listens with a level of attentiveness that suggests she is beginning to internalize these lessons, even if she cannot yet fully apply them consistently, and Viv offers a more supportive perspective, reminding Lucy that growth is a gradual process and that each experience brings her closer to understanding how to manage her instincts more effectively. And the episode concludes with a return to normalcy, but with a subtle shift in Lucy's demeanor, as she appears slightly more thoughtful and measured, though still unmistakably herself. And in the final moment, as expected, Lucy notices a small and curious detail that immediately captures her attention, her expression shifting from calm reflection to intrigued excitement, hinting that while she may be learning and evolving, her fundamental nature remains unchanged, ensuring that the cycle of curiosity, misinterpretation, and comedic consequence will continue, providing both the humor and the heart that define her character and the enduring appeal of the series. And as the episode continues beyond that resolution, the pace slows slightly, allowing the aftermath of Lucy's actions to unfold in a more reflective and character-driven way, revealing not just the external consequences, but also the internal shift that has been gradually forming within her. Because although the immediate crisis has been resolved and the task has been completed without lasting damage, Lucy does not immediately return to her usual carefree rhythm, instead moving through the bank with a noticeable sense of hesitation, as if she is carefully monitoring her own behavior in real time, and this creates a subtle but meaningful contrast with her earlier confidence, suggesting that the experience has left a deeper impression than she initially realized. And Viv quickly picks up on this change, approaching Lucy with a mix of curiosity and gentle concern, prompting a conversation that becomes one of the more revealing moments of the episode, as Lucy openly acknowledges that she is beginning to understand how easily her desire to be helpful can transform into a need to control situations that do not actually require her intervention. And this admission carries a weight that is unusual for her character, as it reflects not just awareness, but also a willingness to question her own instincts, something she has struggled with in the past. And Viv responds with encouragement, emphasizing that recognizing the pattern is the first step toward changing it, even if the process itself is slow and uneven. And meanwhile, Mr. Mooney observes this interaction from a distance, maintaining his characteristic skepticism but also showing a subtle shift in attitude, as he begins to consider the possibility that Lucy's repeated experiences may finally be leading to genuine growth, even if it is incremental. And this evolving dynamic sets the stage for the episode's final sequence, which presents Lucy with one more situation that tests her ability to apply what she has learned, involving a small irregularity that would normally trigger her curiosity and prompt immediate action. And the moment is framed with deliberate emphasis as Lucy notices the detail and pauses, her expression reflecting the familiar spark of intrigue mixed with a newfound caution. And instead of reacting impulsively, she takes a moment to evaluate the situation, recalling the consequences of her earlier actions and considering whether this is truly something that requires her involvement. And this pause becomes a key turning point as it represents a conscious effort to break the cycle that has defined her behavior. And after a brief internal struggle, Lucy chooses a different approach, deciding to verify the situation through the appropriate channels rather than attempting to handle it independently. And this decision leads to a straightforward resolution, revealing that the issue is minor and does not require elaborate intervention. And the outcome reinforces the value of restraint, as the situation is resolved efficiently without creating additional complications. And the reactions from those around her reflect this shift, with Viv offering a warm and approving smile and Mr. Mooney acknowledging her decision with a level of acceptance that suggests he is beginning to trust her judgment, even if only cautiously. And for Lucy, the significance of this moment lies not in the scale of the success, but in the process itself, as she begins to understand that her strength lies not in controlling every situation, but in knowing when to step back. And this realization brings a sense of quiet satisfaction that contrasts with her usual exuberant reactions, creating a more grounded emotional tone as the episode moves toward its conclusion. And yet, true to the spirit of her character, the final moment ensures that this growth does not come at the expense of her defining traits, as Lucy notices one last curious detail that sparks her imagination. Her expression shifting once again to reflect that familiar blend of curiosity and excitement, but this time there is also a hint of restraint, suggesting that while she may never fully abandon her instincts, she is beginning to learn how to manage them. And the camera lingers on this balanced expression, capturing the essence of her ongoing journey, where growth and chaos coexist in a way that continues to drive both the humor and the heart of the story.